Alright everyone, been working on this thing. I have all the resistors installed. You can see that. I started on the transistors. Two of them are soldered in, the third one's not. And I stopped because I want to talk to you guys about putting these transistors in. So let me get the camera to do one of these zoom thingies that it'll do. And of course we're off on our aim here. So let me loosen the camera up and move it. Oh, we don't want to move it that way. Just this way. Yeah, but you can see it. I had it, and then I gotta go doing that. There we go. You think I'd be better prepared, but this is amateur video. This is not like a network. So we gotta live with what we have. Okay, here's the transistor popping through. Now, one thing, you can see that the terminals for soldering are really close together. Okay, and you can already see the three I've done. And what I'm finding is best is to take them and bend them out in three separate directions so I can get to them. Now, I'm still using the battery-powered soldering iron here. Okay? I tried my handheld. It is a little bit better, but not much. So I'm going to give you a good conclusion for this thing in a second. I got to let it warm up a bit. Okay. And we get it in there. Now, you heat first and then apply solder. Like that. And that's all you do to solder. Soldering's quick if you're doing it right. If you're not doing it right, it is not quick. You heat first, and then you apply your solder. Okay? Now, what I would do, once I've done that, is I clip the outer two off. Okay? And then I get the central one. The reason for that is they're in the way. So I get them done first and then the central one. It just seems easier to me. Now, other people would have other methods, I'm sure. But that's my method here. And there we go. I'm going to do a visual inspection to make sure we have no shorts. And I'm pretty much done there. The only real difference between the handheld unit, my soldering station, and this cordless one is that on the handheld unit, I don't have to wait for it to heat up. It's always hot. Okay, that's this one over here. It's always hot. I don't have to wait for it to heat up. And the other difference is the tip is a little smaller. Now that smaller tip allows for a little bit better work. That's the other difference. Plus this is smaller and less bulky, so it's a little easier. I'm going to give you a conclusion of this thing when I'm done with it. And when I'm done doing this, I still have quite a bit to go. I've got this string and this string to go. So I still have quite a few components to put on. The fun thing is this is something I can do in 5 or 10 minutes every day instead of being up here constantly working on it. Which, you know, I don't have to set aside 2 hours to go up and add some putty and make sure it's cured and straight like I do with said dinosaur. And that's what killed the dinosaur for a while, is just lack of that kind of time. Whereas with this one, 5 minutes, we're good. 10 minutes, we're great. 15 minutes, I get a lot done. So this is going to get done pretty soon. Alright, I'll be back in a little while and let you guys know what I think. Well, I've been trying to find out how long a charge would last on this guy. And I just found out it just died out. So a charge on this is good for about 20-30 minutes of work. Now, granted, I've been working on it a little bit here and there over a week, which probably contributes to it a little bit. But I'm going to continue working with the soldering station. And you can see in the background over here, the camera's not in a good spot, so let me move the camera a little bit over my shoulder. You can see what temperature I'm soldering at. Okay, and you can even see the model number there. Let's zoom in a bit so you guys can see what I'm using for a soldering station. There you go. Okay, it's an Xtronic 4000 series. I'm going to recharge this one and keep using it here and there, but no, it's not in the right. Now it's in the right. Well, it lasts about 30 minutes, which for a hobbyist like me who doesn't do this every day, that's wonderful. Okay? But this is already heated up, I promise it is. It heats up really quick. All right, we'll be back in a little bit for another. Okay, when you're working with a pre-made circuit board like this 555 model, you want to take your soldering iron and you want to put it right at the junction between the board and the component and then apply your heat. Once it's hot enough, you take some solder, and you're going to know it's hot enough because the solder will start to melt, like it is right there. Put a little solder on there. The heat's going to pull the solder down to the circuit board, and it'll adhere to the board. It only takes a second to do this. Let's try this other one. I have to change angles here a little bit so it stays on camera. I'm applying the heat. I add a little bit of solder. And it gets down in there and it holds. Okay? And again, one of the principles of soldering is heat first, then the solder. You don't put the solder, then the heat. And the solder should be glossy and shiny when you're done with it and not matte. If it's matte, you haven't soldered correctly. It's not going to hold. Okay? And again, I like to trim off those two outer legs before I get to the center leg that remains. Okay? Here I am doing left-handed soldering again. I don't like doing left-handed soldering. I need to move the camera to the other side. But anyhow, I take the soldering iron. You put it down there. And then you apply the solder. And then you got a short. Because you are soldering incorrectly. And you got to remove the short. Now there's many ways of doing that. I'm going to keep applying heat and moving the solder like that, because some of it will stick to the soldering iron. I also have a solder sucker, and I will get the solder sucker out if I have to, but I don't want to. And see, I got it it's unshorted. Okay? And you can see the end result there. I just wanted to let you know, you apply heat, then the solder, apply heat to the base, not the wire. Because the wire is sticking through the base, it's going to work fine that way. Okay? And then you end up with a half-built model. Actually, I'm 2/3 of the way done with it at this point. I just have this many transistors left to put in, and then I'm done with the soldering on this kit. So we're at the 2/3 point. It's looking interesting. All right, I will be back in a little bit and tell you if there's anything more we need to discuss. All right, everyone, you can see the model of the 555 timer is working. I have a blinking light. So it is a functional model, okay? And I use the circuit diagram that is in my 555 timer video. Not the one that came with it. The one that came with it wouldn't work. That circuit diagram right there does not work. So I use this one right here. And that one worked. Of course, my tablet decides to power off while I'm filming. But that one works. I just wanted to prove to you that this is an actual functional thing. This set of videos is now done. So, let me talk for a minute. I'll move the camera and we'll get a good conclusion. Alright, everyone. Conclusion time. Isotip. Quick charge soldering iron. You know what? I gotta give it a thumbs up, or whatever you want to call it. If on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it about an 8. If I don't have a soldering iron, it wouldn't be bad to buy that one. It really wouldn't. It charges up fairly quickly. It holds a charge for about 30 minutes worth of work. You can't ask for more than that really on a cordless soldering iron, I don't think. I don't know. I know they got better models. This is the low-end model of theirs. But I don't see a disappointment in what I got here. I looked it up. It's about a $50 soldering iron. Now, yes, you can go to your big box home improvement and buy a soldering iron there for $12, but once the tips are gone, you're buying another one for $12, and once those tips are gone, you're buying another one for $12. They sell replacement tips for this on their website. I didn't check the price of the tips, but for the price, I don't think it's bad. Now, the soldering station I use over here, the Xtronic, it's only about $20 more. That tip is going nowhere. Did I notice a difference in using them? None. I couldn't tell the difference between the two when I was working. They work fine. The only difference, the good thing about the soldering station is you can control the temperature. So if you want to lower the temperature because you're afraid you're going to melt down apart, well, you can. Okay? So that's the only thing I can see here that would keep me from the, sorry, I shouldn't be doing that. I'm powering off my tablet. That's the only thing that would keep me from buying the cordless one. If I'm just starting in the hobby and I want a nice soldering iron, the cordless one is great. I don't know how long the batteries last. Too short of a review to find that. But I can't fault the soldering iron. So as of right now, I like it. So if you guys are wondering, should I buy the Isotip cordless soldering iron? Yeah, if you want a cordless one. If you don't mind a corded one, I'd go with the soldering station. It just depends what you're doing. If you're wandering all over the house soldering stuff, yes, that's not going to solder plumbing pipes together. Just circuits. It's not going to solder household wiring. You need a soldering gun for that. But for hobby work, nah, it's fine. It's better than what you're going to buy at Home Depot. That's an honest truth. All right, talk to you later. Okay, conclusion time on the 555 model. I liked putting it together. It was fun. It was something I could do when I had 5 minutes free. Unlike that dinosaur I'm working on, he can't just come up here with 5 minutes and work on it. That's what stalled me on it. It works. It's functional. It's just like a 555, only much larger. The only complaint I have, is the circuit that came with the thing doesn't work correctly. Go figure. Everything else I liked. It was fun to put together. It works. Can't say much more. Okay? Hope you guys enjoyed the videos on it. If you want to buy one, I would. I got it from thinkgeek.com. But their website is on the directions. It's Evil Mad Scientist. You just search for them. I'm sure you'll find it. It's shop.evilmadscientist.com if you want to go buy it directly from the people that made it. It's a nice kit. It works. You just want a big scale model. I didn't even figure out the scale on it, but it's probably like, instead of 1 to 32nd, it's like 20 to 1. It's like 20 times bigger than the normal thing. All right, I'm going to go. It's Sunday and I got some things to do. Also, if you want something that's good for making prototype circuits, it's a proto pack. I got it from Modeler's brand. A bunch of proto boards, jumpers. I looked everywhere for these jumpers and he had them. And a breadboard. It's not as nice as this big breadboard, but it's still nice enough and it's more than big enough for what we do in the model building hobby. Just thought I'd share that. I'm happy with this proto pack. I usually don't do stuff like that either, but I'm happy with the proto pack. And by the way, I was not paid to do this. It was given to me as an evaluation, and I'm giving you an honest evaluation on this. It works as well as a soldering station does, so you can choose between the two. If you want something cordless, great. If you want something where you can control the temperature, great. All right. Just thought I'd share this because I looked for these everywhere and never could find them. And they came in a proto pack. Go figure. And the proto boards, those are nice proto boards. Very nice. All right. Talk to you later.